In this video, I am going to explain the denial of service attack, which is the most popular attack and a powerful attack in mostly will happen in any servers or on any busy servers and commercial servers or on any network. This is a most commonly performed attack. The reason is this attack can be performed in various ways. There are various methods available for performing this attack. In order to perform this attack, the attacker may work on various levels of the network protocol stack. That means various levels in the sense he may target various layers of the network protocol stack. That means he may work at the physical layer, he may target the data link layer, network layer, transport layer, and also application layer of the TCP/IP protocol stack. The name itself telling you that denial of service. Denial of service in the sense the attack will be performed in such a way that the system will try to deny or will directly deny providing of the service. Always, always our aim of any server is the server must be in a position to service the clients 24 by 7, 365 days. But this attack will focus on making the server to not to avail service or to not to provide service to the clients. This is what they call denial of service. A best example is if you might have given a simple question, then you may remember that question and there you can give the answer. But if I have sequentially asked two questions, still you may remember two questions and you may give the answer in the order of the questions asked. So assume that I might have continuously asking the questions. First question, I'm not giving you any gap to answer. Then I have given the second question, third question, fourth question. Continuously, if I am giving the questions, then you may remember at most two or three questions at a time. By the time you give the answer, the remaining questions you may forget. And after giving the answer, whatever the recent question you have listened, that may be remembered, and that corresponding answer may be given by you. It means that if the number of questions are posing at a time, then automatically the chance of remembering multiple questions will decrease. Thereby, you will try to deny that I can't answer these many questions. You please ask the question one by one and give the gap so that I can provide you answer. Then you ask another question, then I will provide you answer. Like that, the question and answer and question and answer. That means that there should be at least some gap between the questions. Then only it is easy for you to answer by understanding the question. And if you look at in if you might have gone to any hotel and there will be a server. What the server will do is he will carry a small notebook or he will carry a small uh, pad. Whatever the order you book, he will write in that pad, because if the order is too lengthy, then he may not remember. That is the reason he is writing on the note and going there and serving you the food. Assume that if you are continuously giving the food order with various items, then without note, assume that the server cannot remember that many items. Even though he may remember first 2 3 items and will bring those items, or the items may be brought to you in a wrong order, or maybe he may bring the services or he may bring the items which are not ordered by you. So these kind of things will happen. These things will happen, especially the reason is you are not providing the sufficient time for responding by the server. Thereby, server cannot perform the task up to its maximum level. The same concept is going to be used in the denial of service by the attacker to make a system to fail or to deny service to the clients. Hope by this time you might have understood the denial of service. That means ultimately the aim of denial of service to make the service provider to fail so that there should not be any service to serve to the client. This denial of service can be happened at any level of the protocol TCP/IP protocol stack, varying from the physical layer to the application layer. Now we'll see in detail in various how many ways this particular denial of service will happen. So DOS, denial of service, is a way of making the server, network, system to deny the services. Assume that, consider this figure. Here is an attacker. Attacker controls is the jombines. See here, jombines in the sense the one is under the control of attacker. The one means here the system, it may be a system, it may be server, it may be a routing device, it may be any other device that is under the control of the attacker. What the attacker will do is, this attacker will try to inject some malicious code in terms of some other jombines or some here bots in the sense which are already compromised and already in the favor of the attacker. Botnet, it is the network of the compromised nodes which are under the control of the attacker. The attacker may use the jombines, already compromised one individually, or a group of compromised systems that are under the control of the attacker may be used to attack the target server. So here jombines are botnets attempting denial of service attack. How this particular service will be done? That means how this particular attack will be done. This attack will be performed as follows, such as all the compromised servers or compromised systems who are under the control of the attacker, including attacker, will try to send the request without any gap to the target server. Thereby, the target server cannot hold that many requests. Thereby, target server will try to deny the services to the actual clients. Assume that there is an original client, a genuine client, who is sending requests to the target server. Because of the flooding of many requests from the jombines and botnets and also from the attacker, the target server sometimes may drop the request of the genuine client, and thereby it will resemble as the denying of the service to the genuine client. I hope by this time you might have understood how the denial of service will be performed. How can you know that a denial of service is going to be performed on the target server? Assume that you are sitting on the target server, and how to identify some service or some thing is happening or some denial of service attack is happening on the target server. As a security engineer who are sitting on the target server can understand this attack by observing the symptoms. It is just like, how can you know that Okay, your body is not uh, working fine. There will be some symptoms. The symptoms based upon the symptoms, you will come to know that what type of problem you are having. Thereby, you will take related medicine or you may go to the doctor. In the same way, on the target server, the security engineer who will sit there will observe the symptoms such as slow performance of the target server, or sometimes you may receive various spam mails, too many spam mails to your inbox or to the mail server is also a symptom that indicates that denial of service is going to happen, or unavailability of the resource to the service to the security analyst itself. He is unable to get the service or resource to perform an application on the server. In that way also you can find that some DOS attack is going to happen on the target server, or loss of access to a website, disconnection of a wireless or wired internet connection. That is, sometimes you may have observed that some frequent disconnections will happen. Even though the network is good, automatically disconnections will happen and you're supposed to reconnect it again. So this is a symptom of denial of service attack. Next is the denial of access to the internet services. So these are the symptoms with which you can understand that some DOS attack is going to be happen. The distributed denial of service is the way of making a server to deny services via multiple compromised systems. If the attacker directly performs the flooding of the requests to the target server, then it is 1 to 1. But this attacker will try to send multiple requests at a time, or there will not be any gap between the requests. If such thing was happened, then we can say it is as a denial of service attack. But if the attacker makes the compromising of several systems, and with the help of these compromising systems, which are under the control of the attacker, all put together, if they attempt uh, flooding of requests to the target server, then it is said to be distributed denial of service attack. There is a thin line difference between the denial of service. Denial of service means only one person or one attacker will try to perform the uh, denial of service to the target server. Where in case of distributed denial of service means is a way of making a server to deny services via multiple compromised systems, such as botnets or jombans like this. So this diagram resembles the distributed denial of service attack. It is just like the one who have watched the movie called Robo, in which one malicious robo will create multiple malicious robos, and all the malicious robos will work under the control of the main robo and will try to attack the public. The same is the case here, which is called distributed denial of service attack. In order to understand this distributed denial of service attack, first we must know the TCP three-way handshake. Anyhow, this TCP three-way handshake you might have studied in the network scanning, but the same TCP three-way handshake we are going to revisit to understand the denial of service and distributed denial of service. As I told you, DOS or DDoS will be performed at any level of the TCP/IP protocol stack. Whenever I say at any level, especially the applications at the application layer will use or will depend on the lower layer, that is immediate lower layer called transport layer. In the transport layer, there exists only two protocols on which any application layer protocol has to depend. What are those two protocols? One is TCP protocol, another is UDP protocol. After transport layer, there will be a network layer. In network layer, one more protocol will come into the picture called IP, which is called Internet Protocol. This Internet Protocol may be in two different versions, IPv4 and IPv6. Either it is IPv4 or IPv6, both the IP protocols, Internet protocols, are stateless and they cannot do any task by its own. Hence, there is a supporting protocol available in the network layer called ICMP. ICMP means Internet Control Message Protocol. This ICMP will help the IP protocol to find the routes from the source to destination. Thereby, it will perform the routing. So, in the distributed denial of service attack, the attacker will mainly target the transport layer protocols and the internet layer protocols. In the transport layer protocol, especially TCP protocol, UDP protocol, and in case of network layer protocol, ICMP protocol. So if you want to target the protocols to implement DOS or DDoS, then the main focus is first on TCP. The reason is most of the internet traffic will run on the TCP protocol. That means if you open any web application, the HTTP or HTTPS or any FTP, all these will internally use the TCP as the transport layer protocol and will work. So that is the reason the attacker will mainly focus on the TCP protocol for launching the DOS or distributed DOS attacks. That is the reason it is very important to understand the TCP protocol. In TCP protocol, especially TCP three-way handshake. The reason of knowing the protocols is basically network protocols are designed by making an assumption that the communicating parties, it may be a sender or maybe a receiver, are trustworthy. It means both are trustable and both are honest in communication. So by making that assumption, the protocols were designed. So those protocol functions sometimes may become a chance to the attacker to exploit. Thereby, several attacks may be performed or may be launched on the communication network. If you can understand the functionality of the protocol, since the protocols were designed by assumption that the network communicating devices are honest, so once you know it, then you may try to explore the protocol, and you may identify the loopholes on those protocols, and those loopholes may be exploited to launch the attacks. So in view of this, first we'll see the TCP three-way handshake, because DOS or DDoS can be launched on the with the help of the protocols TCP, UDP, and ICMP. One by one, we'll see. TCP three-way handshake. This TCP is a connection-oriented protocol. In order to establish the connection between the parties, the client in general will use the client and server will use the three-way handshake. The three-way handshake will be happened as follows. First, the client will send a synchronous request to the server. Synchronous request is nothing but making the server to listen to the client that by mentioning that I need some service. And one thing you remember, in TCP protocol, for every message, any kind of message, there will be a systematic numbering. That systematic numbering is called sequence numbers. Whatever the message that will be used or that will be used for the communication in TCP communication or TCP protocol requires a sequence number. So the reason synchronous signal or synchronous message consisting of the sequence number, in the diagram the sequence number is 100. This sequence number will be sent to the server. Whenever the sequence number is sent, the client will set synchronous sent. That means it will change the state from the normal state to synchronous sent state. The server will change the state from the normal state to synchronous received. But one thing you are supposed to understand here, a server may receive synchronous requests from many clients because the task of server is to serve the clients. In such cases, how the server will remember that this particular synchronous request has come from so and so client. In order to do that, the server will maintain a table called state table. In that state table, the server will maintain the IP address of the client and the port number from which the client has sent the synchronous signal and the time at which the synchronous signal has sent, and thereby once these things are recorded, the server will open a connection which is also called half open connection in the server's memory. In reply to this synchronous signal, the synchronous acknowledgement will be sent to the client. So whenever this server receives the synchronous signal, it will maintain the synchronous table of the client, that is IP address, port number, and the time at which the synchronous has sent. What is the sequence number of the synchronous signal will be recorded. Once it is recorded, it will create a memory for connection of that particular client. Once the memory is created, then the server will send synchronous acknowledgement packet to the client. In the synchronous acknowledgement packet, again, it consisting of a sequence number, okay, and an acknowledgement number. The acknowledgement number will be the +1 of the synchronous sequence number. Here the synchronous sequence number is sequence is equal to 100. The acknowledgement number is 100 plus 1. That means the client will come to know that this is the acknowledgement of the synchronous signal that I have sent with the sequence number 100. Thereby client will record, okay, I have received acknowledgement for the synchronous signal that I have sent to the server from the server. Then it will happily record the thing called established. That means the state will be changed from the synchronous sent to the connection established. Once the connection is established, the connection is also established at the client side. Once the client establishes the connection, it will create an acknowledgement packet that I am ready for connecting or sending the data. Thereby, it will send an acknowledgement to the server. The server acknowledgement, client acknowledgement will be like this. It will be consisting of a sequence number. The sequence number is the +1, that is the increment of the previous number, that is the previous packet number. The first packet sent by the client is synchronous signal, which consisting of sequence number as 100. The next packet sent is acknowledgement packet. So obviously it will be +1. So sequence number is +1. And since the server has sent the synchronous acknowledgement with the sequence number 200, how the server know that this particular acknowledgement belongs to the corresponding synchronous acknowledgement signal sent by the server to the client? That will be identified by looking at the acknowledgement number in the acknowledgement packet received by the server if the acknowledgement number is 201, that means this particular acknowledgement packet is the response or is the acknowledgement of the packet synchronous acknowledgement with the sequence number 200. Thereby, server will come to know that, okay, this particular client has established the connection and has sent the acknowledgement to my synchronous acknowledgement signal, and both the client and server now will become ready for the data transfer. Since this entire thing will be maintained in the state table at the server side, at the same time at the client side. But the client previously has sent the synchronous signal and received the acknowledgement. Once it is received the acknowledgement, then it established the state. That means if it is establishing the connection means client now will establish the memory or will create a memory for this particular connection. That means in the first two sequences, that is synchronous signal sending, synchronous acknowledgement receiving, there is no memory creation here. But in case of server, once the synchronous signal was sent, here memory creation takes place. Once the memory creation is taken place, then only the server will send the synchronous acknowledgement. Now assume that the server has sent the synchronous acknowledgement. Now the client has not sent the acknowledgement for the synchronous acknowledgement sent by the server. In such a cases, what will happen? The memory that is created here will be there like that only in the server. Assume that attacker has performed want to launch the distributed denial of service and made all his controlled compromised computers to send the synchronous signal to the server. Assume that attacker consisting of around 100 to 200 compromised computers under his control, and attacker is ordering all the compromised computers to send synchronous signals, at least 10 synchronous signals per second to the server. Now there are 200 compromised computers which are called jombines or botnet, consisting of 200 compromised computers, sending 10 synchronous signals or 10 synchronous requests per second to the server. That means per second 10 into 200 computers, that means around 2000 synchronous requests per second to the server. Like that, over a period of time, how much memory need to be created at the server for establishing the connections? Over a period of time, if the same flooding happens for around 30 to 40 minutes, the server will collapse because the memory will be exhausted and the server cannot perform anything, and all of a sudden server will collapse and will go into shutdown phase. This is what the ultimate aim of targeting the honestiness of the TCP protocol in establishing the communication. But this particular loophole was exploited by the hacker to launch the DOS or distributed DOS attacks. Now, but what will happen at the client side? Client will also establish a memory here, but the client will know, because client itself is hacker. He knows that he will receive a synchronous acknowledgement. Whenever he receives the synchronous acknowledgement, he will discard the synchronous acknowledgement at the entry level itself. Thereby, there is no need of creating the memory. So in that way, the hacker will be safe, but the server will become victim. When the server will become victim, then automatically the server will be crashed, and thereby, in order to boot the server, it will take at least 20 to 30 minutes. Whenever the server is booted, again the same operation will be happened. Whenever the same operation is happened, again server will crash. So in this way, the repeated operations repeated attacks will be performed by the client. So thereby, this particular DOS and distributed DOS attacks will be performed comfortably by the attacker. So DOS and DDoS protocol operation or attack operation is totally by understanding the protocols, that is TCP, UDP and ICMP protocols working procedure. The reason is in this actually they may send a genuine packet or they may fabricate the packet and may send. Or for example, if the client, that hacker, don't have multiple compromised computers, then how to say how to launch a distributed DOS attack? That means client now, that is hacker now, will fabricate the new packets. In order to fabricate the packets, there are many tools available. Especially HPing3 is used. HPing2 is somewhat older. HPing3 is a tool that can be used to fabricate the packet. And there is a tool called Networks. You may make note of this. Networks. NETWORX. Networks. This tool consisting of around more than 100 options, in which one option is fabricating a packet. Means you can fabricate a packet with whatever the IP address you want, with whatever the port number you want, and you can send it to the destination. In such a way, the hacker may write a script to send to create and send multiple synchronous packets with multiple IP addresses and multiple port numbers to the target system. Thereby, it will look like a denial of service attack. So it is just like simply writing a for loop for I is equal to 0 to whatever the count you want, and create the synchronous packet, attach the IP address, port number, send to the target server. It will be repeated with multiple IP addresses, and multiple port numbers, and will be sent to the target server. And whenever you receive the synchronous acknowledgement at the physical level, discard it. So thereby, the multiple packets will be sent by running the script, and it will look like a launching of distributed DOS attacks. So this is the way how the hacker will do. That is, hacker will send the synchronous packets in absence of multiple compromiser systems. So I recommend you to go through the HPing3 and Networks tool, and I recommend you to go through the documentation of that. Anyhow, I will show you the creation of the or fabricating of the packets and sending to the target server in the next lectures. But in meanwhile, you try to explore these concepts. So thereby, how to fabricate the packet and how to send to the target system. So in which HPing3 is especially useful for creating or fabricating the ICMP packet or ICMP request, because ping operation is totally based upon the ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol. So you can fabricate the ICMP packets there. And Networks tool is one thing where it will provide an option to fabricate packets. Either it may be a synchronous packet, it may be TCP packet. Whenever it is a TCP packet, then the synchronous flag in that TCP packet should be set to 1. Whenever the synchronous flag is set to 1, then it will be treated as a synchronous signal. Okay, there are some multiple flags will be there: synchronous flag, finish flag, acknowledgement flag. So the corresponding flag will be set to 1. Whenever the corresponding flag is set to 1, it means that this is related to that particular signal, and the server will respond to that signal. So with this this lecture will be I'm concluding this lecture. In the next lecture, I will discuss some deeper aspects of the distributed denial of service, including the tools and methods, And later we'll also see the botnet concept, how the botnets are used for this launching of DOS and distributed DOS. What are the other tools that are there in the Kali Linux, and all we'll see in the next lecture.